On September 30th, 2022, Vladimir Putin entered St. George's Hall in Moscow. The occasion was a ceremony claiming that 4 occupied regions of Ukraine, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, were becoming part of Russia. It demonstrated how an authoritarian leader can use history, fear, and national humiliation to justify force. Putin presented Russia as an innocent civilization surrounded by enemies. He accused the West of colonialism, greed, and moral corruption. He declared, "They do not want us to be free, they want us to be a colony." That sentence reveals the mechanism of the speech. First, define the nation as a permanent victim. Second, portray every critic as part of a hostile conspiracy. Third, convince the public that the leader's power is the only barrier between survival and destruction. This is an old authoritarian technique. When disagreement becomes treason and every rival becomes an existential enemy, repression can be presented as protection. Putin did not literally announce that he would recreate the Red Army or invade all of Europe, claiming that would weaken an educational video. His message was less explicit and more important. He argued that Russia had the right to take territory from a neighboring country, dismiss its sovereignty, and treat military occupation as historical correction. That is imperial thinking. It says borders matter only when they restrain other nations. It says the past gives the powerful permission to dominate the present, and it turns conquest into a moral duty. Putin then warned, "We will defend our land with all the forces and resources we have." But the land he called Russian included internationally recognized Ukrainian territory seized during war. The language reversed aggressor and victim. Invasion became defense. Annexation became reunification, and resistance became proof of Western manipulation. This is a lesson in propaganda. It does not always invent every fact. More often, it rearranges facts until violence appears necessary. The speech also helps explain why Putin's system is often described as kleptocratic or mafia-like. A mafia does not operate through transparent rules. It operates through loyalty, fear, reward, and selective punishment. Those who serve the center receive wealth and protection. Those who challenge it may face prosecution, exile, imprisonment, or worse. In such a system, institutions become instruments. Courts protect power. Media repeat the official narrative. Elections create an image of consent without allowing genuine competition. Corruption becomes a method of control because compromised elites depend on the leader for protection. Violence is therefore not separate from the political system. It supports the system's credibility. The message is understood even when it is not spoken. Loyalty is safer than independence. Putin's attack on the West also requires careful examination. Western governments have committed wars, abuses, hypocrisy, and failures. Criticizing them is legitimate, but criticism does not justify invading a neighbor, suppressing opposition, or treating human beings as pieces on an imperial map. Western democracies have often pursued power, but their open universities, scientific institutions, competitive economies, and relative freedom of inquiry have helped produce and distribute medicines, computing, communications, engineering, and technologies used worldwide. Those achievements do not make the West innocent. They show what societies can create when questioning authority is protected rather than punished. Russia also possesses a great scientific and cultural heritage. The achievements of Russian people must not be confused with Putin's government. The tragedy is that an authoritarian system can inherit a great civilization while narrowing its future around war, obedience, and one leader's survival. The speech offers 5 educational warnings. A leader who claims to embody the nation may begin treating opposition as an enemy of the nation. A government that constantly describes itself as surrounded may use fear to demand unlimited loyalty. Historical memory becomes dangerous when it is used as a deed of ownership over other people's. Patriotism becomes propaganda when love of country requires silence about government crimes. And strength without accountability eventually becomes coercion. The most revealing question is not whether Putin criticizes Western hegemony. Some criticisms may contain truth. The real question is whether his alternative offers greater freedom, dignity, innovation, and security. His speech offered hierarchy, grievance, obedience, and expansion. It asked Russians to see domination as defense and isolation as independence. That is not national renewal. It is the language of an authoritarian system trying to convert fear into permission and permission into empire.